That $95 bottle of Macallan on your shelf, about $30 of it paid for a visitor center in Scotland that looks like a spaceship, and you never even got a tour. Not a joke. That's just how the Scotch whiskey industry works in 2026, and most drinkers have absolutely no idea. The brands filling every airport duty-free shelf, every restaurant back bar, every birthday gift bag, those are the brands spending the most money making sure you think of them first. And a huge chunk of what you're paying for has nothing to do with what's in the glass. Here's what should genuinely bother you. At the 2025 World Whiskies Awards, the most credible independent judging event in the industry, a $60 bottle from a small independent Scottish distillery beat every major label flagship in the world. Blind, no branding, just whiskey in a glass. The Macallan 12, sitting at $95 to $110 a bottle, lost. So did every other big name you'd recognize. The winner retails for less than a tank of gas in California. We're going to break down 5 of the most famous single malt Scotch brands that are genuinely not worth what you're paying for them right now. And for each one, I'll give you a smarter, cheaper, or equal-priced bottle that actually beats it. Not opinion, not preference. Track records, blind tastings, ownership maps, and price-to-quality ratios. Let's start at the top. Macallan 12, Sherry Oak, probably the most gifted bottle of whiskey in America. You see it at every holiday party, every birthday, every corporate thank you. It sits between $95 and $110 at most retailers right now, and it carries a reputation that feels untouchable. Rich, sherry-forward, prestigious. Strip away the label and here's what you actually get. An expert score of 83 out of 100. For context, that's a score that would embarrass plenty of $45 bottles. One description that keeps showing up in professional reviews. Feels stuffy and distant, not complex, not layered, stuffy. Now here's why it costs what it costs. In 2018, Macallan's parent company, Edrington, opened a $140 million visitor center at the distillery in Speyside. It won architecture awards. It genuinely looks incredible in photos. But that investment doesn't come out of thin air. Those costs flow directly into the brand's pricing structure, and you absorb them every time you buy a bottle. You are partially funding a tourist attraction you have never visited. The alternative is GlenDronach 12. It runs $62 to $74 depending on where you buy it, and it consistently matches or beats Macallan 12 in direct side-by-side comparisons. 100% Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso sherry cask maturation. Same profile you're chasing with Macallan. Dark dried fruit, chocolate, rich Christmas pudding, but with more depth, higher character, and roughly $20 less out of your pocket per bottle. GlenDronach doesn't own a visitor center that looks like it belongs at Coachella. They just make whiskey. Next up, Glenfiddich 12. Glenfiddich controls 17% of the entire worldwide single malt market. 17%. They ship around 700,000 cases a year. The next 2 best-selling single malts combined don't hit that number. Without question, the most commercially successful single malt Scotch ever made. That is also exactly why you shouldn't buy it. When something gets produced at that scale, the first priority stops being quality and starts being consistency. Not the same thing. Glenfiddich 12 shows up in every airport, every hotel bar, every liquor store in America, because it's reliable. It won't offend anyone. It won't surprise anyone either. Professional reviewers describe it repeatedly as pleasant but not exciting, and not a lot going on. Pleasant, that's the ceiling. You're spending $40 to $55 for pleasant. Think of it like beer. Bud Light outsells every craft IPA on the market. It's everywhere. It's familiar, people reach for it by default. That's exactly what Glenfiddich 12 is doing in the whiskey world. The airport default. The safe choice. The bottle that never starts a conversation. The smart alternative here is Benromach 10, a Speyside whiskey owned by Gordon and MacPhail, the most respected independent bottler in all of Scotland. They've been at it since 1895. Benromach 10 retails at $50 to $55, roughly the same as Glenfiddich 12, and it brings something that Glenfiddich simply doesn't: character. A faint signature peat runs underneath the honey and vanilla, a complexity that makes you actually stop and think about what you're tasting. No corporate marketing machine running ad campaigns, no airport contracts. Just a small batch Speyside that punches well above its price. The Glenlivet 12, at $35 to $50, it's one of the best-selling single malts in the United States. And the brand has a legitimate history. It was the first legally licensed distillery in Scotland. Real story. A compelling one. But here's what that history is actually paying for in 2026. Pernod Ricard, the French spirits conglomerate that owns Glenlivet, drops 16 to 18% of its net sales every single year on advertising. That works out to approximately $2.1 billion annually. Billion, one of the largest advertising budgets in the global beverages industry, and it gets baked directly into every bottle they sell. When you buy the Glenlivet 12, a meaningful cut of that purchase price is funding TV spots, influencer campaigns, sponsored content, and shelf placement at every major retailer in the country. What's in the glass? Reviewers consistently call it thin, a little watered down, and floral but flat, light, clean, easy to drink, but not interesting. And for a whiskey that trades on heritage and prestige, it really should be. The flavor doesn't justify the brand positioning. You're paying for the marketing story, not the liquid. The alternative is Glenfarclas 10 or 12, a family-owned distillery run by the Grant family since 1865. Not the same Grant family as Glenfiddich, different family, different ethos, completely different approach to production. Glenfarclas ages exclusively in Oloroso sherry casks, and has never wavered on that. The 10-year retails at $45. The 12-year sits around $60 to $79. Rich dried fruits, Christmas cake spice, nutmeg, a finish that actually sticks around. It beats Macallan 12 in a significant number of expert reviews. Costs $20 less. The Grant family owns it outright. No publicly traded parent company. No $2 billion at budget built into the sticker price. Laphroaig 10. Personal for a lot of people, and I get it. Pied de Slay whiskey has a cult following unlike anything else in the spirits world, and Laphroaig built that following brilliantly. The Friends of Laphroaig loyalty program has over 700,000 registered members. 700,000 people signed up for a club where the main perk is a square foot of land in Scotland. Extraordinary brand work, and that brand work has a price. Laphroaig is owned by Beam Suntory, a division of Suntory Holdings in Japan, a global spirits corporation with brands spanning bourbon, Irish whiskey, and blends across multiple continents. The rugged Scottish island distillery story is real in origin, but it's being managed by a corporate ownership structure that runs on scale. When that many people are paying the hype premium, the hype tax gets baked in permanently. Laphroaig 10 currently retails at $50 to $65 and scores well. It's not a bad whiskey. But here's the real question. Are you paying for the peat? Or are you paying for the identity? Because if you actually want serious Islay peat without the corporate ownership layer and the membership club hype, there is one bottle that has absolutely no equal at this price point. Kilchoman Makyr Bay, $65 to $70. And here's what makes it genuinely different from every other bottle in this list. Kilchoman is the only real farm distillery operating on Islay. They grow their own barley on the farm. They malt it on site. They distill, age, and bottle everything on the same property. When you see farm distillery on most labels, it's a marketing angle. With Kilchoman, it's literally just the truth. They've been independent since they founded the distillery in 2005 and have never sold to a corporate buyer. Makyr Bay hits 50 ppm peat. That's a serious peat level. Bottled at 46% ABV, non-chill filtered. The smoke is real, the salt is real, the coastal character is real. None of the price tag is going to Tokyo headquarters. When you buy Kilchoman, every dollar stays connected to a 120-acre farm on the west coast of Islay, where 3 generations of the Wills family actually show up to work every day. That's what people think they're getting with Laphroaig. Kilchoman is where they actually get it. Glenmorangie Original 10. LVMH owns this one. Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, the same company behind Louis Vuitton handbags, Dom Perignon Champagne, and Hennessy Cognac. In 2025, Glenmorangie became the official whiskey of Formula One, a partnership that costs tens of millions of dollars and reaches hundreds of millions of viewers worldwide. Guess who pays for that? You do. every time you grab a $40 to $52 bottle at Total Wine. The whiskey itself is bottled at 40% ABV, the legal minimum for Scotch whiskey. Some releases carry no age statement, meaning Glenmorangie isn't required to tell you how old the whiskey in the bottle actually is. Light, floral, approachable, it's a fine introductory Scotch, but it's priced and positioned as a premium product when the spec sheet says otherwise. You're buying luxury brand positioning at an LVMH markup. The liquid doesn't earn it. The smart play here is Glenallachie 12, and this is the one that should genuinely surprise you, because Glenallachie isn't just an alternative, it's the bottle that won World's Best Single Malt at the 2025 World Whiskies Awards. Second time in 4 years. The Macallan 12, which costs $95 to $110, finished below it. Blind tasting, independent judges, no branding, just whiskey. Glenallachie 12 retails at $55 to $67. Bottled at 46% ABV, non-chill filtered, no caramel coloring added. The flavor comes from a combination of PX sherry casks, Oloroso sherry casks, red wine casks, and virgin oak. A maturation program that most distilleries charging twice the price don't come close to. Independent. No Formula One deal. No LVMH parent company running brand strategy out of Paris. It just keeps winning the most important blind tasting competition in the world. Here's the bigger picture, because the individual bottles are only part of the story. 5 companies, Diageo, Pernod Ricard, LVMH, Beam Suntory, and Edrington, between them control roughly half the global whiskey market. Diageo alone owns 31 Scotch distilleries and holds more than 24% of global market share. Pernod Ricard owns 10 distilleries and spends nearly $2.1 billion per year marketing those brands. When you pull back and look at the ownership map, most of the bottles on the featured shelf at your local liquor store belong to the same 4 or 5 conglomerates. The heritage branding, the family history, the Scottish origin stories, a lot of that is still true at the production level. But the financial decisions are being made in London, Paris, Tokyo, and New York. And then there's the tariff situation. In April 2025, the US dropped a 10% tariff on UK imports. Scotch export volumes to American retailers fell 15% almost immediately. The tariff was lifted in May 2025, but a lot of people didn't catch what happened next. Retail prices on those major brands never came back down. The big labels used the tariff as cover to quietly raise prices. When the tariff disappeared, the prices stayed, not an accident. That's a pricing strategy. The independent distilleries on this list, Glenallachie, GlenDronach, Benromach, Kilchoman, Glenfarclas, didn't run that same playbook. They don't have global distribution contracts and luxury conglomerate pricing desks. Their prices reflect actual costs far more honestly. The blind tasting evidence makes all of this concrete. Uprocks and multiple independent spirits publications have documented the same pattern over and over. $60 scotches routinely match or beat $200 bottles when the labels come off. People pick the prestige label when they can see it. They pick the better whiskey when they can't. That gap between what we think we know and what's actually in the glass is exactly what these corporate marketing budgets are built to protect. You don't have to keep paying for it. The next bottle you pick up doesn't have to be an airport purchase or a safe bet gift. Glenallachie 12 for $60 is the world's best single malt 2 years out of the last 4. Glenfarclas 12 for under $80 beats Macallan in expert reviews and costs $20 less. Kilchoman Macir Bay at $65 comes off the only real farm distillery on Islay, made by people who live and work there. Benromach 10 at $55 carries the name of the most respected independent bottler in Scotland. GlenDronach 12 at $70 delivers the rich sherry experience Macallan charges a premium to promise and doesn't always keep. Drop it in the comments. What's the most overrated whiskey you've paid full price for, and what ended up being the bottle that actually blew you away? Because I guarantee this community has answers that would surprise people. If this reframed how you think about what you're actually buying at the liquor store, hit that like button and share it with whoever in your life keeps gifting you the same $100 bottle every Christmas. Make sure you're subscribed, because the next video breaks down what single malt age statements actually mean in 2026, and whether a 15-year whiskey is automatically better than a 10-year. The answer is not what you think.